Today in this video we will discuss about Sanger sequencing method, which was discovered by Sanger, and he was also awarded Nobel Prize for this excellent work. So what is sequencing? Sequencing means to know the order of nucleotides that are present in the DNA. So we know that DNA consists of 4 different bases, A, T, G, C, and how they are placed in a DNA. The DNA can be long from few bases to several kb. So it is very important to know the sequence of DNA, because the DNA sequence can help us to identify the regulatory region of a gene. Okay, and besides helping us to know about the regulatory sequence of a gene, it also helps us to identify the conserved region and also the variants position, which can lead to disease further. So these are the very important thing that can be determined with the help of a sequencing. So the genetic variants and the regulatory region. Okay, so all these are very important, and these things can be achieved once we get to know the sequence of DNA. So Sanger sequencing was one of the first generation sequencing that was developed, and this technique is also known as chain termination method. So basically this technique employs the use of chain termination, and how this chain termination comes into play we will discuss in the next few slides, and also how this process works. So we know that the sequence of DNA is extended in a 5 prime to 3 prime direction. Okay, so that means any new bases that is going to incorporated in the DNA, it will be adding up in this 3 prime position. So if you can see this part, okay, so let's see this part, and this part represent a portion of DNA. So in this case you can see here this 3 prime OH region, which is marked here, and any new base that is going to be a part of this DNA that is going to add up here will attack this OH group in order to form a phosphodiester bond between this 3 prime and this 5 prime region. So this 3 prime OH help the recruitment of the further bases that is coming and attaching to this DNA molecule and further elongating it. So if this OH group that is located in the 3 prime region, if the O is replaced, if there is only single hydrogen atom that is present in this 3 prime group, as you can see here, this part, if this single hydrogen atom is present at this 3 prime carbon of this sugar, then in that case what will happen, the incoming base won't be able to attack here, they won't be able to form a phosphodiester bond, and as a result of which no further elongation of DNA will take place. Okay, so in that case the replication will be terminated. Okay, the DNA will not be able to extend further. So if this is a template, and if this one is a primer that binds to DNA, and if this is the extension of DNA replication, in this case if you can see, if here in this base gets incorporated at this position, then in that case it will not be extended further, the replication will come into halt at this position. Okay, so Sanger has employed the use of this dideoxybase, that means this 3 prime will lack this OH region. Okay, so Sanger has employed the use of this 3 prime H instead of 3 prime OH, and this is because of which no further base will be incorporated here, and the elongation of chain at this particular position will be terminated. So that is why the technique is known as chain termination method, because once this base that consists of 3 prime H instead of 3 prime OH will be incorporated here, in that case no further extension will take place, and the extension always takes place in a 5 prime to 3 prime direction. Okay, so you can see here this is a 5 prime, and this is also, let us suppose, a first base of DNA. So if the replication goes on in this direction, then you can see the replication direction is 5 prime and this one is 3 prime. So the end is always 3 prime and the starting point is 5 prime. The replication takes place in 5 prime to 3 prime direction. Okay, so how does this Sanger process work? So let us suppose you want to sequence out this DNA. Okay, so what will happen at first? You need to isolate DNA, and in order to sequence this particular region of DNA, you first need to denature DNA. Okay, so first the DNA gets denatured. Denature means separating of two DNA strand. The two DNA strand will detach off from itself. Then when this single nucleotide is free, you can make multiple copies of them. Okay, and then add primer. So what is the function of primer here? So primer will go and bind to that particular region of DNA whose sequence you want to know. Okay, so DNA being a very long molecule, so Sanger sequencing can only help us to determine around 800 to 900 bases. So in order to identify the sequence of any particular region, you have to design the primer accordingly. Okay, so once you have designed the primer, the primer will go and bind to that particular region of DNA whose sequence you want to know, and it will start the replication. But before this replication, there are few things that I need to mention here so that you can understand it properly. So we know that during replication process, we need few things that are very important. The one is primer, okay, and the second one is template. Obviously, because we are going to determine the sequence of a template region. So apart from this primer and template, the other thing that we need is a tag polymerase, because polymerase is going to extend this chain, and the DNTPs. So a DNA is composed of these nucleotides, the DNTP ATGC, and beside all these things, the most important thing in this sequencing process that we need in particular is the dideoxynucleotide. So this dideoxynucleotide will be present for each of the bases. That means dideoxynucleotide for A, dideoxynucleotide for T, dideoxynucleotide for C, as well as dideoxynucleotide for G. For all of them, this dideoxynucleotide will be present, because in DNA all of these four bases are present. Okay, so what you will have to do is that you carry out each of the reaction in four different tubes. So these are the four different tubes, and in each test tube, because there are four bases, so in each test tube you will add four different dideoxynucleotide. That means primer, template, tag, as well as DNTP, all of these four things will be present in all of these four test tubes. Okay, because replication will happen in all of the four test tube, but in all of this test tube you will add this nucleotide separately. That means if you want to get product that ends with only A, okay, so in that test tube you will add the dideoxynucleotide for only A, and if you want to end the product with T part, in that test you will add dideoxynucleotide T. Similarly for this one you will add G, dideoxynucleotide G, and in this test tube you will add dideoxynucleotide C. Okay, so all of these four bases, normal bases will be present in all of the test tube, but the abnormal one, the dideoxy one, each specific nucleotide will be present in each of the test tube. So the reason we are doing this here is I am going to explain you. So if you can see, if the sequence of DNA is like this: A, E, G, C, T, A, C, and G. So let us suppose, just for an example, let us suppose this is the sequence of DNA that we are going to determine. So what will happen? let us discuss about this first test tube. What will happen in this tube? So just because it contains a dideoxynucleotide A, so it will end in those places where A will be incorporated. So A will be incorporated in T and this T. Why? Because complementary of T will add up A. So when this replication will start for this portion, at first normal T will come, then A will come. Why? Because for T always A comes. So this A, whether it is normal A or dideoxy A, if this A is a dideoxy one, then the fragment will end up here. But if this A is normal, it will extend and it will again go up, and further again when A will be added, then it will be decided whether this A is also a normal A or the dideoxy A. Similarly, if this A is a dideoxy A, then again it will be stopped. So similarly, the reaction in each test tube will be carried on, and in each test tube, since different dideoxynucleotide is present, so in each test tube we will get a different size product for different nucleotide. That means for A test tube we will get one smaller A, then a bigger A, then again a smaller or a bigger. Okay, so in the places where this A will be incorporated, it will be decided whether this A is normal or the dideoxy one, and based on that the replication process will be terminated. Similarly, in all the other test tube where T will be incorporated, if this test tube represent T part, so in the DNA sequence where this complementary T will add up, depends that if the normal T is added first, then the sequence will be replicated further. But the cases where dideoxy T is added, in that case your replication will be stopped. So in this reaction you can see, if this first T that is incorporating here, if this one is a dideoxy T, then we will be getting smaller product. Okay, but once you move out from this here and once you go to this A that will incorporate the T in the opposite strand, then again it depends on which type of T is incorporated, whether it is normal or whether it is a dideoxy one. So this is how you are going to develop uh, different size product in each of the test tube. Okay, and then what you will do after the reaction process will be over, then you will run them in agarose cell to separate the different size fragment. So you know that each of the test tube contains different dideoxynucleotide, and you will run each of them in different lane. So in the lane 1 you will add this reaction mixture, in the lane 2 you will add this reaction mixture, in the lane 3 this one, in the lane 4 this one. So once you will complete this electrophoresis part, you will find bands in several locations. Okay, so how will you get to know what is the sequence of DNA? So just now I have told you that you know that in which reaction mixture you are adding in which well. That means the reaction mixture if contains dideoxy A part, and if you are adding that reaction mixture in the first lane, then in that case you know that any fragment that is present in this first lane will always have a in this end. Okay, always have A in the end. So similarly in the case of this T part, you know that any fragment that ends up here will end with T, and in this C lane any fragment that ends is end with C, and any fragment in this G will be ending with G. Okay, so the one that is the lowest one is the smaller one. Why? Because during replication, as we know that the smaller fragment are the first bases that are incorporated. That means that if you look at this sequence particularly, again let's take as example A, T, C, G. Okay, So the first base that is going to incorporate here is T, and the size of this is very less because it contains only one base. But if the reaction proceeds say like this, see, so this is bigger than A, that means it will come at the above of this smaller one. So once you electrophorese all the fragment, the most smallest one will be in the lower panel. Okay, so based on this you can see that the band that is present here is the first base, okay, the one which is lowest. So the band correspond to T part because it is coming in the T lane. So we are sure that the first base of this DNA is T. Then after this it is C. The sequence is going from lower to upper part, okay, because the direction of replication is in a 5 prime to 3 prime. So in the 3 prime, the first base that is to be incorporated here is T followed by C. So the direction is going from 5 prime to 3 prime in the upper side, and the sequence of this DNA will be TCGAA, TGT, CAGE, GG. So this is how the Sanger sequencing method is performed. And in case if you find any difficulty in understanding, try to put your question in the comment section, so I will explain you again, or any other question. Okay, so thanks for watching this video.